Hi, everyone. We're super happy to be with you this morning. We're here more to tell you a story, I would say. And this story starts when SNCF launches its Heritage Incubator last year to try to find new ways to value and share, the memories that's kind of are stored a bit all over the place, both in train stations, in the craft that's built within the train stations, in train themselves, but also in a little something more intangible, I would say. A history, a set of very rare and ancient skills, and kind of certain idea of traveling and being in touch with what makes France special. So we launched during the first lockdown last year, and of course we were really focused about how to keep alive that exploration of heritage in a time when culture all over the world was put to sleep. And so two experimentation fields volunteered to challenge themselves and try to reinvent the way they were presenting themselves to their audience. And the first one was the Cité du Train, our flagship museum in Mulhouse, in Alsace. And the second one was Le Train Jaune that Lionel talked about a bit earlier in the Pyrenees. So in order to serve La Cité du Train's will, to show some of the most inaccessible items of their collections, because they're too fragile, we scouted Blumen Lab and their tool Immersivo, which is a no-code platform that enables teams to co-create and build immersive experiences without any expertise in VR. And we also wondered how to relate the beauty of Le Train Jaune, and I don't know if you've ever been there, but if so, you might know how inaccessible this beauty is, both in distance, in physical specificities, I would say, and in time. And to help with that, we scouted Lumine, which is a VR solution led by a very talented team. And with both those startups working together with our teams on the field, we were kind of quite sure we were going to be able to, quite confident we were going to be able to find new experiences to offer our public. And this was the starting point of our whole program. And here, maybe I would like to dig a bit deeper on the second experimentation with Le Train Jaune. So this item is actually quite special because it's both a destination and a travel experience with all that there is of remote, of unknown, and of fragile in that kind of experience. And hence, it was really the perfect place to start wondering, as SNCF, what was the experience that we wanted to offer the public, and we wanted it to be an experience that would move the public as much as it moved us. And the answer to that first question, I would say, was truth, truth to who we are. And so we had to, really find what is our essence as SNCF. And we found this in a certain approach of traveling, I would say. And this is what we wanted to showcase, rather than just showing something for the sake of it. And we actually might not have thought about doing that, creating that virtual experience of the travel in Le Train Jaune without Lumine, because we all know how technically demanding it is to build a VR experience out of a moving background. The reason why I'm talking about authenticity here as a paramount criteria when creating a VR experience of cultural heritage, at least, is because this sense of authenticity carries the emotion that is stored in the object that we're trying to share, to showcase. And the reason why I'm talking about emotion is because our human brain is, at least for now, made to build connection not out of receiving information, but out of feeling emotion. And I might have to say a word about the fact that building connection with the public is paramount for us. As a train company, it's even a duty for us now because of the role we have to play in trying to preserve decent life conditions for mankind on this planet. So we'll come back to the importance of emotion in a second. What I did not mention yet about Lumine is that they're actually doing a special kind of VR. They design VR experiences especially made for disabled people with Alzheimer's. It actually makes the guidelines more demanding to integrate the singularities of the cognition of people with that disease. And yet, we tried it yesterday for the first time during the demo day of the program. It's incredible because people who don't have the disease cannot feel the difference. It's the same, and can fully enjoy the experience also without noticing. And what I mean here is that inclusive experience is not by essence a lower version of a normal experience, but our mindsets often make inclusive a lower version than normal, and we guess it's past time that we change that. So soon enough, what happened with the incubator is that experimentation started shifting our perspective of what inclusion actually is. Teams at La Cité du Train et at Le Train Jaune did not have any knowledge about VR, and were not really tech savvy either. And reciprocally, the startups had to discover, I would say, the specificities and the culture of those places, the ways of functioning of the cultural industry. And so I guess that we could somehow say the startup was disabled in the cultural industry perspective. It didn't have the codes. And on the other hand, the cultural industry institution might have been disabled in the startup ecosystem, in the startup culture, because they didn't have the knowledge. But taken together as a whole, there were just two different entities trying to talk together, which made us wonder, actually, whether disability was something per se, or if it was rather created out of making one of those two referentials the norm that had to prevail over the other. And so, in that sense, there is a good chance that anyways, if our minds cannot comprehend the concept of potential alterity from the beginning when we design new experiences, we will probably create ones that are exclusive. And so that distance, I would say, with new technologies might be something that we often see in cultural industry, especially for museums, monuments, and historical sites. And what we witness with our experimentation with both Blumenlam and Lumine is that VR has the potential to reposition, actually, the very framework in which those custodians of cultural heritage think and change their perspective, really, and how they approach inclusivity, because they experience themselves what non-inclusivity might look like. And this is what we call empathy in design. So really putting yourself in the shoes of the other that you're trying to understand. And this really opened our minds about the various definitions of exclusion and reciprocally of inclusivity, because you can say there are many types of disabilities. Think about technological gaps that we were just talking about. Also think about cultural gaps and educational gaps. I mean, if you don't have that mindset of thinking of differences as a whole, there is good chance that we can create exclusion everywhere, because the chances of being the exact same that someone else are actually very, very limited. So this experience that Lumine developed and that we tried yesterday night actually also show that when we're all together in that helmet, we're kind of at the same time alone with our own emotions, our own singular emotions, but at the same time, those emotions connect us with other people experiencing the same content. And yeah, VR is all about experience and emotions. And remember what I was saying just before, that emotions are both very singular and at the same time the bridge between human beings that can also shrink differences. And this is another thing that appeared to us during that experimentation. I was mentioning before that Lumine is really going further than just inclusion, because they're actually using something that's called train therapy, which is a scientific approach that proved to reduce cognitive disorders and anxiety symptoms for people with Alzheimer's. So recently, it was even actually discovered that this train therapy, because of triggering certain emotions and that sense of evasion, actually enabled to reduce chemical medication for those people with Alzheimer's. When I say that, I'm just like, and I've read it like 100 of times already. So it's VR also has the potential to not only be inclusive of everyone by essence, but also to shrink disabilities, to shrink gaps between all the people we are trying to include in the same experience. And that's, I mean, isn't that what culture and art are about anyways? So I think I'll just leave you with this, that what we discovered in our experience is that VR has the ability to just go beyond really what we acknowledge as differences, as disabilities, and to shrink the differences to make what we call maybe wrongly disabled people a bit more able again. And if we have the ability to do it, don't we also have the responsibility to do it? Thank you.